Welcome to Gaia's Love, a podcast of brief messages to help humanity bridge the gap to the new earth. My name is Vivienne Gerard. It is my delight to be a scribe for consciousness today, sharing the wisdom that flows through from Source. Here we go. Episode 309. It is Monday here in Cincinnati. The sun is shining, the sky is blue, it's warming up a little bit. It's just a gorgeous day. I was outside for my run this morning when it was really chilly, but early, and as I was coming down the last little curve, I went towards that field that I describe a lot, and the sun was coming through the trees with the most incredible rays of light. It was breathtaking. It was so cool. So I took some pictures and I'll share one of those today for the image for the podcast. It was so beautiful the whole way down the hill. I just kept getting different peaks of sunlight through the tree limbs because there's no leaves anymore. And it was just the most magnificent way to start a Monday morning. So I invite you to get outside if you haven't yet today and breathe in some fresh air and look for some sunshine and look up at the sky. Which segues us right into the title for today's podcast, which I wasn't sure what it was going to be until literally right before I started it. And I was muscle testing, and signs of existence is what we are playing with today. So a little backstory on it. Yesterday in our meditation time, I was guiding the group through really calming down the nervous system because it feels like our bodies have just been so overstimulated. And as we enter a holiday weekend, there's a lot of activity, a lot of traveling, being around lots of people. Perhaps if you have family and friend events, there's still a lot of movement and rushing. And so what happens to our bodies is we overstimulate, overextend, overwhelm, and then we forget to breathe. So we did a lot of that at the beginning of the meditation call. And then about halfway through, I felt like we could switch gears. The mind and the body had harmonized enough that now the soul could start to speak, which is just this magical moment when I'm guiding a group. It's so sweet when it all just kind of comes into alignment and I can feel like we're ready to drop into something deeper. It's so fun. And so we reached that halfway through yesterday's hour-long call. And so I was just sitting quietly trying to discern which way do we go. And this image of one of my Osho Zen cards popped into mind immediately. And it's called Existence. I'm going to read it to you in just a second. And the reason it came forward is because I was talking about the new moon, which is going to be on Tuesday, and how much energy and momentum, we have as we step into this new moon, and the expansiveness of this one right at the end of this year and right after all the work everyone's been doing in Scorpio. There's this opening that's happening that's so cool. And so I was describing that on the call, and I gave the image of, when you're around new moon time of month, the moon is dark. You don't actually see it. And what you see instead are just this expansive sky of stars, all these stars. You just see millions of stars if you're lucky enough to not have smog or clouds where you are looking up at the sky. But there's just this infinite expansiveness of stars in the sky, and how the openness, the spaciousness of that vista, it's the magic of a new moon time. There's all these possibilities. And so it made me think of this existence card. So I'm going to read it to you. I touched on it in the meditation call, and then we kind of kept playing with how to bring that into our everyday lives. But I'll read it for you now because it's so good. I couldn't believe I hadn't read it yet when I looked through my notes. I thought for sure I'd shared it in this podcast space before, but I haven't. Okay, so it's from my Osho Zen card. It's this beautiful sort of blue-purple backdrop, and there's a shooting star right at the center, and all these different stars throughout the whole card. And then right at the center, there's the number 1, and then it says existence. And then there's this sort of lotus leaf that's going up into the middle of the sky. And on top of it sits this person, this human, who's just really steady and gazing out at the sky. The card is very still, except for the movement of the shooting star. It's really amazing. I'll post it in the Soulshine Tribe so that you can see it if you would like to later. So here's what Osho Zen says. Existence, card number 1. You are not accidental. Existence needs you. Without you, something will be missing in existence and nobody can replace it. That's what gives you dignity, that the whole existence will miss you. The stars and sun and moon, the trees and birds and earth, everything in the universe will feel a small place is vacant, which cannot be filled by anybody except you. This gives you a tremendous joy, a fulfillment that you are related to existence, and existence cares for you. Once you are clean and clear, you can see tremendous love falling on you from all dimensions. The commentary says, this naked figure sits on the lotus leaf of perfection, gazing at the beauty of the night sky. She knows that home, in quotes, is not a physical place in the outside world, but an inner quality of relaxation and acceptance. The stars, the rocks, the trees, the flowers, fish and birds, all are our brothers and sisters in this dance of life. We human beings tend to forget this as we pursue our own private agendas and believe we must fight to get what we need. But ultimately, our sense of separateness is just an illusion, manufactured by the narrow preoccupations of the mind. Now is the time to look at whether you are allowing yourself to receive the extraordinary gift of feeling at home wherever you are. If you are, be sure to take time to savor it so it can deepen and remain with you. If, on the other hand, you've been feeling like the world is out to get you, it's time to take a break. Go outside tonight and look at the stars. My favorite line in the whole commentary and description is, without you, something will be missing in existence, and nobody can replace it. It's so good, right? It's just so beautiful. So when I shared that yesterday on the meditation call, which if you're looking for connection to this feeling that I'm sharing with you, you can still access the recording. It's under Here Now with Viv on my website under meditations. And they're beautiful recordings. You can really drop in and do some incredible work with my guidance on your own. So when I shared it yesterday, what I was saying is, when your soul is harmonized with your mind and your body, which is what we were flowing through yesterday, when they're working together and you feel this truth of there's something so unique about each one of us that only our soul could bring to this planet at this time. And when you trust that and you believe that and you act from that, the soul starts to bring more and more into alignment in our path. And we start to get these little nudges or winks or signs. I talk about this all the time in the podcast. Something will happen that, I was tying it to the meditation yesterday. I said some word or image or something I describe in this meditation is going to play out exactly as you heard it or experienced it in another way in your life. On Sunday, on Monday, throughout the week, a phrase, an image, a something, it's going to be exactly what we looked at in this meditation. And it's a way for your soul to go, yep, everything's in alignment. Yep, you're totally on track. So instead of dismissing that magic where the soul says, you are unique and we are guiding the show and we've got you, right? Instead of dismissing that as a coincidence or something that just happens and your mind tries to make light of it, we can allow the soul to validate, like, yes, you're on track. Yes, this next step, this one. So I said that to everybody in the group. Everyone's on mute. It's just me talking. And I said that, and inside I'm like, oh, that's going to be so fun for everybody else. I'm so excited. They're going to have these magical experiences all week. Yay. And then in the afternoon, so all I could see in the visual as I was doing the existence, as I was touching on the existence card, I didn't read it, but as I mentioned it, I just saw that vision of wide open sky. And I had everybody tap into a time where they had been in the experience of being in a sky like that, on the ground looking up, or to visualize it if they had never actually experienced it themselves. And so we finished the call, and I made lunch for my husband and I, and then we decided we're going to watch a Hallmark movie because we have someone recording because they're kind of addicted right now. And there were all these titles. And so we picked the one that talked about this guy that works at a Christmas tree farm, and he meets this woman and her son. And I was like, oh, this will be fun. So we're sitting there watching. It's this really sweet story. And all of a sudden, this element comes into the movie of, she's a science teacher and she happens to talk about astronomy and she has this deep connection to the stars. And then she gets grant money to go take her 7th grade students out to some thing on the winter solstice where she has telescopes and they look at the stars. So literally there's all these views on the TV screen of exactly what I just described in the call. And I just started giggling. I told my husband, you're not going to believe it. That's exactly what I was just saying. How did we get this? This is so funny. So we were kind of laughing about it. I saw it as a little wink, but I'm like, oh, that was cute. My soul just gave me this little nudge. Thank you. So sweet. So we run some errands, get some stuff done. We come back and I'm making dinner. We've got time to watch a movie. So he said, what do you want to watch? I'm like, I don't know, not another Hallmark one. Why don't we do just something that's not Christmas related, some other kind of movie? So we go to Netflix, and there's been this ad all the time called Into the Wild. And it's got some really beautiful characters, famous people. And it's about Africa and going into a safari. So I'm like, oh, this will be cool. We'll get to see some animals. And it looked more like a human drama story, a relationship. She's getting a divorce and she meets this guy, and it sounded kind of fun. Well, we start watching, and almost immediately the storyline switches, and it's about what humanity is doing to the elephants and the poaching that's happening in Africa. And there are all these beautiful data, or there's information that they're feeding through the movie in the way the characters are talking to each other about what's actually happening and how damaging this is to the species of elephants and what humans are doing to help course correct that. It was so beautiful. So I'm sitting there, just both of us are looking at each other like, this is about elephants? This is amazing. We didn't know it was going to be about elephants. And the power of the existence of the elephants and how valuable each one is. So we're just kind of watching and I'm marveling. And then, of course, there's this time where the guy says to the woman, have you never seen the African sky before? And they pan, and the whole sky is millions of stars, exactly as I described it in my call. I'm like, oh my God. So I'm hitting my husband on the shoulder. I'm like, I can't believe it. Well, in the first movie, they had telescopes. And so this couple, the young boy, was looking through the telescope, and they were talking about how you could look out into the night sky, exactly like the card was describing. Well, of course, in this movie about Africa, there's a telescope in his tent, and there's this beautiful scene where the two of them are looking through the telescope out into the sky. It was awesome. It was awesome. And I just had this joy. I mean, you can hear it, this joy in my soul, they're paying attention. My soul, all the stars that guide us, they're all working together and they're guiding our way. And if we could just let go of our mind that wants to control it and judge it and evaluate it and just step into the magic, they will just, make it the most incredible adventure with all these extra nuggets that we didn't even ask for. It was so heartwarming to watch humans taking care of elephants. I mean, and them describing, the caretakers of the elephants describing the unique personalities of each of these elephants. They had names, and how, years later, the elephant would somehow bump into one of the humans when they're rescuing another one, and they would remember each other. Oh, it was so cool. It was just amazing. Into the Wild is the movie if you're looking for something incredibly sweet to watch over the holiday season. And of course, it was about Christmas. Christmas in Africa. Oh, talk about full circle. So today, let's bring it all home, bring it back. Today, when I was preparing for this meditation, this podcast, what I was feeling is, the willingness, the amount of allowing that I have in my own body, in my own mind, body, spirit, to receiving these signs, to receiving the validation of the unique reason I am here, my reason, my existence, and how without me the world would be less than because I am not here. When we focus on removing as many blocks as possible within ourselves, so we can just receive more of those magical signs, more of the validation that our existence is valuable. Our soul, our guides, the mysteries of the universe, they show us, they prove to us, they bring all these little nuggets of joy and validation right into our day in physical ways. And so can we be open to how magical that process is? Can we identify, can we see them as the gifts that they are when each little nugget or synchronization or sign happens? Can we see it and receive it and say thank you? And not allow our minds to judge it or try to put it into a logical thing that makes sense. It doesn't make sense. That's the joy of it. It's completely illogical, completely out of the bounds of reality, and that's what makes it so amazing. So as we step into this holiday week here in the United States, as we step into a new moon energy tomorrow, which I will be tapping into and making a meditation and doing a Zen card pull reading for my Patreon friends, as we step into that energy, there's such such joy. It's the best word I have for it. There's such joy in this space. Allow yourself as much as possible to tap into that and to let your mind rest, to ask your mind to pause the loop, slow down the thinking, and be in the feeling and the receiving of all that's here for us. So I will be back tomorrow, and then I am taking the rest of the week off to play with my family and cook and eat and cook, and maybe watch more Hallmark movies. All right, I will see you back here tomorrow. Have a beautiful Monday, everyone. Thank you for tuning in to this vibration of pure love. I invite you to join me on Sunday mornings for an hour of meditation, visualization, and energy healing, where we realign our mind, body, spirit with Gaia and Source. You can learn more at mysouljourney.com. Let's take this message of Gaia's love out into all of our relationships and communities today. So much love from my heart to yours.